Hello everyone, this is Jack Evans. It's April 16th, 2025, and I am an Associate Wealth Advisor here on the Pegasus Capital Management team on the Infinitas Coordinated Wealth Council. And today I'm going to talk about housing. It seems to be on everybody's mind, so if you're a prospective home buyer, you've probably seen the headlines that now has been a very inaffordable time to buy a home, and you're wondering, when will things kind of revert back to normal? Is there going to be a better entry point for me to be a prospective homeowner? And so I think it provides a good opportunity for us to review mortgage rates and home ownership over time, and then the factors that are leading to maybe housing affordability becoming better or worse in the near term. And so this is going to pull up a graph in front of you that shows the 30-year mortgage rate that is denoted by the green line, and then you can see on the right side of the chart the 30-year mortgage rates with a lower bound of 0%, if only, and an upper bound of 20%. The horizontal axis is the year going back to 1970, the present day in 2025. And then you can see also the U.S. home ownership rate, which is the blue line, which you can see the percentages on the left side of this chart with a lower bound of 62% and an upper bound of 70%. So focus on the green line and mortgage rates to start. You can see that mortgage rates actually peaked in 1981 at 17.41%, if you can believe that. Present day 2025, mortgage rates stand at 6.6%, which is a far cry from the 17.4 in the 1980s, but you can see that we really haven't seen mortgage rates this high since the mid-2000s, which is part of the reason why housing affordability is less so today. But moving to the blue line, you can see that home ownership peaked in 2004 at about 69%, and that probably shouldn't come as too much of a surprise because the lending standards or the ability to obtain a mortgage from a mortgage provider or a bank was very loose back in those times. You can see that home ownership dips pretty dramatically from 69% to about 63% in 2015. That was really attributable to two things. That was the mortgage providers tightening up their standards, making sure that people who wanted to obtain a mortgage were creditworthy. And then the second thing was there was also an exodus at that time from less suburban areas to more urban areas in cities like Chicago or New York. One thing that you will notice is that right before 2020 and during 2020, that home ownership spiked pretty significantly. That was largely attributable to two things as well. Of course, COVID happened. People kind of moved from cities back to suburban areas. Why pay a lot of rent money in an urban area when you can't go outside and see anybody? And so they upgraded to more suburban areas, get a home with more space and more opportunities for work from home. Also, you'll see at that time that mortgage rates bottomed out at about 2.5%. And so people really flooded and bought homes at that time. But, going forward, when is the right time to buy a house? Right now, it's really hard to know based on about four things. First, the path of interest rates. Is the Fed going to cut interest rates, keep them the same, or potentially raise them if inflation remains sticky? That's a really hard question to answer right now. Secondarily, construction labor. With all the tariffs that are put in place right now with the goal to bring U.S. jobs or more jobs to U.S. folks, is that going to happen? Will we have more people or less people than we're planning on right now? The costs associated with the materials to build a home. Again, with tariffs, are those prices going to rise substantially or not? And then if we hit hard economic times, how willing is a bank or a mortgage provider going to be to give me a mortgage to buy a home? And so there's a lot of uncertainty right now, but consult with your financial advisor, reach out to us, and make sure that a home purchase might be within your financial plan and financial goals. So feel free to reach out to us at 913-327-1627 or email me at jack.evans@pegasuskc.com.